Quick wear+birth system+beautiful female lead+a small world equals a lifetime+no fixed CP+semi overhead. I was originally happy shopping, but due to an accident, I bound my birth system. Her great life hasn't even begun yet, so she's just lamenting like this. This won't work. World 1. Miss Meiyan Shangshu X Cold-Blooded Crown Prince, keyword. Revenge on the spot, kick the cold-blooded prince, but the prince says, okay. Give it another kick. World 2. Crazy critics of good women X high cold boss, keywords. Facing blind dates upon graduation, tearing apart top-notch relatives, turning the corner to meet Mr. Gao Lengba, let's go, Civil Affairs Bureau to obtain the certificate. World 3. Empress Dowager X desperate young master, keyword. Wake up again and become a female supporting character, but the system says that the target character this time is a flower shop owner, but this is only their retirement side job. The young master says, give you flowers. Give you flowers. The fourth small world, the fifth small world. Chapter 1. Miss Shangshu X Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully binding the birth subsystem. A mechanical and cold reminder sounded in Ling Yuan's mind. Her name was Ling Yuan. She was originally happily shopping, but on the way back, she was accidentally hit on the head by a falling plaque, resulting in excessive blood loss and death. She was floating in mid-air with a deep gaze, unsure of what she was thinking. Congratulations on the host being selected by the birth subsystem. Do you want to bind the birth subsystem? Upon hearing the voice in her mind, Ling Yuan regained her senses and was momentarily stunned. As long as the host completes tasks in various small worlds and collects fragments of the main god, they can obtain wealth, lifespan, health, and piecing together fragments of the main god can reward the host with a wish. This system is a reproductive system. As the name suggests, as long as the host helps the struggling main deity give birth to offspring, they can obtain lifespan and money. Health is linked to lifespan. Each small world will receive different rewards based on the difficulty of the task, and with a high difficulty coefficient, the rewards will naturally be generous. If the host is unwilling to bind, it will be erased by the system. May I ask if it is bound? Ling Yuan has no other choice now. If she were bound, she would still have a chance to live a new life. She hasn't fully enjoyed her great life yet, so it's so sad to remind her. This is not acceptable. She said without hesitation, bind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully binding the birth subsystem. Entering a small world, a wave of dizziness came, and Ling Yuan tightly closed her eyes. She woke up again in a completely unfamiliar environment. Two women's cries could be heard nearby. Miss Ling. It's my fault. Why did I invite you out for a trip today and encounter this? It's not my fault. Sister Ling, if I could have helped her in time at that time, wouldn't the ending be like this now? My sister is willing to die for her. The two women were crying with pear blossoms and rain, and the noise made Ling Yuan's head ache. A large amount of memories flooded into Ling Yuan's mind, with fine beads of sweat on her forehead, and she began to receive the plot from the system. The original owner was a talented woman with superb piano skills, known far and wide. My father is the Minister of Revenue, proficient in music and calligraphy. In such an environment, the original owner was deeply influenced and loved the qin. One day at a banquet where she played the piano and met His Royal Highness Prince Jing, who was the ideal husband that many women in the capital had long dreamed of. His Royal Highness Prince Jing is also skilled in playing the qin and particularly admires the superb skills of the original owner. He also heard that Prince Jing requested a decree from the emperor to marry the original owner. Knowing this, the sisters of the Meng family, who had always been friends with the original owner, tried every means to ask the original owner out, saying that the sisters were mainly spring outings and playing the piano in the pavilion near the lake. I didn't expect someone to push me behind the original owner. The Meng family's sisters, who usually make friends with Ling Yuan, actually framed the original owner. Ling Yuan's headache slowly eased, and she finally accepted the current plot. She asked the system with her consciousness, "Is Prince Jing my strategic target?" The system suddenly sounded an alarm. Due to a system error, the difficulty level of the task increased, and it should have been given to the host's current healthy family. However, the system provides special services and free beginner packages for the host's first small world for free, and the host's strategic goal is still His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Ling Yuan frowned in displeasure, not realizing that the system was so unreliable. Ling Yuan glanced at the two sad women crying next to her and suddenly realized that there was not even a sound of sobbing. She cried so falsely, so she sat up with her wet body and said loudly, "I'm not dead yet. Why are you crying so sadly?" The two women's faces turned pale in an instant, as if they had seen a ghost. They sat on the ground with mutual greed and retreated in succession. "Are you a human or a ghost?" Miss Meng looked at the original owner in panic, with an incredulous expression on her face. Ling Yuan waved her hand and quickly stood up, as you can see. Unexpectedly, every movement of Ling Yuan frightened the two of them and they immediately retreated, fearing that Ling Yuan would be unwilling to accept the death of a vengeful soul and would come to seek their lives again. Ling Yuan gave a wicked smile and quickly pulled them up, throwing them directly into the lake behind her. "Ah! What are you doing? Ah ah ah! Help! Help me!" The cries for help came one after another, and the screams were incessant in her ears. Ling Yuan remained calm and stood by the shore to watch. After a while, she felt like something was happening and asked the system, "What is a special service?" If the system determines it to be reasonable, it can borrow the system to help the host achieve the desired goal. This is exactly what she wants. The original owner was kind-hearted and easily believed what others said, but she was different. She only believed in herself and avenged her enemies on the spot. She felt better when she felt relieved. Ling Yuan watched as they gradually lost their cries for help, and there were no ripples on the water surface, so she said to the system, "Erase their memories and change it to me rescuing them and sending them back to Meng Mansion." It took a long time for the system to speak out and say, the system judged it to be reasonable. The two young ladies of the Meng family are at least the daughters of the Ministry of Revenue's palace. After going out with her for no reason, they passed away like this. It's inevitable that outsiders will suspect her. It's up to these two young ladies to decide whether to die or live. Ling Yuan coldly smiled and turned around to leave. Since all the requirements of this level have been judged reasonable, Ling Yuan has some understanding of this special service in her heart. Subsequently, the system thoughtfully projected the image of the system processing the matter into Ling Yuan's mind, and the Meng family was extremely grateful to Ling Yuan. Anyway, it was Ling Yuan who saved the two young ladies in their family and said she would come to the door to thank them another day. Ling Yuan had just returned home when her father and mother hurriedly paced back and forth in the room. Seeing her soaked all over, she stood at the door and quickly approached with concern. "Yuana, let my mother see where you got hurt." "Oh my! Yuana! Why don't you bring a few servants when you go out? If something happens today, what should I and your mother do?" Ling Yuan's expression darkened slightly, and she said, "I'm sorry, Dad and Mom. It's Yuan Heirs' unfilial behavior that worries parents." Ling's father shook his sleeve and looked sad and helpless, saying, "It's just okay, just come back safely. Hurry up and go back to the house to change your clothes." "Yes, my daughter is leaving." Ling Yuan respectfully bowed and returned to the room, ordering someone to take a shower and change clothes. "What is the current situation of my strategy target?" Ling Yuan asked the system while taking a bath. "His Highness the Crown Prince has reached the age of marriage, but the Crown Princess has not yet landed. Because His Highness is not close to women, it makes the Empress worry day by day, fearing His Highness's obsession with Long Yang. It is also heard that the Li family has a good pregnancy constitution for generations. In order to ensure that the crown prince, who is facing difficulties in his offspring, can have a son and a half daughters, the empress will choose a daughter from the Li family to become the crown princess. Task. If the crown prince fails to give birth to at least 2 children within a year, he will leave this small world and be wiped out by the system. Ling Yuan was clear in her heart. She opened the system panel and saw the beginner's gift package. Upon opening it, she received Ice Skin and Jade Bone Pill, Quenching Body Pill, Repair Water, Painless Birth Pill, Dragon and Phoenix Pill, Multiple Birth Pill, and Good Pregnancy Pill. Chapter 2. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 2. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ling Yuan immediately took the Ice Skin Jade Bone Pill, Quenched Body Pill, Good Pregnancy Pill, and Dragon Phoenix Pill together, and slept soundly that night. The next morning, a loud rooster crow shattered the tranquility of dawn. Ling Yuan looked at herself in the mirror with seductive eyes and a face the size of a palm, but couldn't resist the visual impact brought by the stunning and moving facial features. The willow eyebrows are curved, the starry eyes are clear and bright, and the cinnabar-like red lips are tender and tender. After being refined by drugs, the body becomes even more like a condensed fat, which can be easily broken by blowing and bouncing. The round, full, and slender waist that is difficult to grip is even more intriguing. What are the instructions from the host? The mechanical sound of the system echoed in Ling Yuan's mind. Ling Yuan borrowed points to exchange for a magical medicinal powder and hid it in her sleeve. Take me directly to the crown prince's room, Ling Yuan said straightforwardly. Points of 15,000 are required. The host currently has 0 points, which can be offset by 2 children. Do you want to borrow points? Although Ling Yuan felt a pain in her flesh, she had to do it in order to complete the task quickly. After agreeing, she arrived at the crown prince's dormitory in the blink of an eye. At this moment, the crown prince is changing clothes, and because he doesn't like others having to serve him in everything, he is the only one in the palace. Suddenly, she noticed an extra person in the room and was about to shout loudly. However, Ling Yuan was quick-witted and immediately sprinkled the pre-exchanged medicine powder into the air. The crown prince was momentarily motionless and glared angrily at the woman in front of him. This powder can immobilize people for a certain period of time, depending on the amount used. It was his carelessness. Ling Yuan looked at the crown prince with a mischievous smile. He was truly a beautiful and talented person, with a pair of narrow phoenix eyes shining brightly. His slender eyelashes cast a small shadow under the light. His facial features are deep and three-dimensional, and his cold and aloof appearance further highlights his extraordinary temperament. As she helped the crown prince take off his clothes, she exclaimed, "TSK TSK TSK, truly worthy of the title of the crown prince. It's really slimming to wear and fleshy to take off." In the eyes of the crown prince, Ling Yuan seemed to be such a disciple, and his disgust towards her grew even deeper. The robust body instantly jumped into Ling Yuan's eyes, with beautiful and smooth lines, and strong muscles that were clear and firm. Any girl who took a glance would definitely feel confused. Ling Yuan's restless hand couldn't help but pinch it a few times, and the sensation was surprisingly good. An imperceptible pink gradually climbed up the crown prince's ear, but was still caught by Ling Yuan at a glance, and her smile deepened a bit. Unfortunately, the crown prince now seems to have been immobilized, unable to move and can only stare at the woman in front of him, unable to resist her every move. "I just want to have a child, and I don't intend to marry you." "It's business," Ling Yuan said while dragging the crown prince. As a result, Ling Yuan's inner feelings were mixed, and the system had not told her that the crown prince was not capable. Time is tight and tasks are heavy. I immediately searched the system mall, but fortunately, there was a solution in a short period of time, so I immediately used it for the crown prince. It really works wonders. The sleeping palace was filled with an ambiguous atmosphere, and a faint fragrance emanated from Ling Yuan's body, like a gentle breeze on a spring night, gently caressing his heartstrings. After a while, Ling Yuan finally tidied up everything, poured herself a glass of water to drink along with the repair water, and even rolled away the sheets of the crown prince's bed. "I'll take the evidence, don't try to find me either. I can sneak into your bedroom and kill you without you even realizing it." Ling Yuan shook the red-stained bedsheet in her hand and threatened the crown prince. "How dare she even threaten me after getting a discount? I really don't know how to live or die." The voice of the father-in-law came from outside the door, reminding the crown prince to go to court. Upon seeing this, Ling Yuan immediately asked the system to help her imitate the voice of the crown prince and said, "Today, my king is feeling unwell and seems to have caught a cold. It is not advisable to go to court. If it were to be transmitted to my father, my king would be deeply responsible for his death. My father-in-law ordered me to immediately withdraw." The crown prince, seeing Ling Yuan's effortless appearance, felt even more determined to kill her. Such a bold and reckless woman with extraordinary means, who has already been engaged to her own imperial brother, Prince Jing, dares to come to the crown prince's mansion so recklessly. Such a lowly woman is not worthy of being on the royal jade plate. She has such extraordinary abilities, and I want to see who she is who can teach such an outstanding woman. After seeing the person leave, Ling Yuan said in her own voice to the crown prince, "The medicinal effect will disappear after a while. We will meet endlessly and never see each other again." After speaking, she flipped through the window and asked the system to send her back to her bedroom. The time limit for giving birth to 2 children is only 1 year. If she fails to achieve her goals, she will be erased by the system and will not be reincarnated from then on. And the physical condition that was supposed to give her good luck made her dress up as someone else, which was already a bit difficult. The crown prince now has an unknown hidden illness, and she must take action in advance. She had no choice at all, and in order to survive, she had to complete the task. Ling Yuan was drinking tea and contemplating her next plan, but was forced back by Lu'er's voice. Lu'er is her personal maid. When she was a child, she saved her from encountering human traffickers in the countryside and has since been taken in as her personal maid. "Miss, Your Highness Prince Jing wants to see you," Lu'er's figure reflected on the door and she bowed slightly. "Okay." Ling Yuan put down the cup in her hand, helped her hairpin, and walked over. "I have seen His Highness Prince Jing before, but I don't know if he is busy." Ling Yuan performed a standard courtesy, generous and appropriate. Upon seeing Ling Yuan, Prince Jing was momentarily mesmerized. His eyes were clear and bright, with a hint of brilliance between his eyebrows and eyes. His graceful figure always had an impulse to keep getting closer. The first impression that Prince Jing gave Ling Yuan in front of her was a graceful and youthful appearance. With a dignified appearance and a charming demeanor, there is a hint of an imperial aura between the eyebrows and eyes. She is not angry and self-righteous, and any woman would be moved by it. No wonder he is the ideal husband for all women in the capital. "Yuan, I have been pleased with you for a long time, and today I have requested the decree of marriage." Prince Jing looked at Ling Yuan with a pair of clear spring-like eyes, adding a touch of tenderness. Warning. If marrying a non-target character, the system will determine it as a mission failure and issue a kill command to the host on the spot. The sound of the system alarm rang in her mind. If the fact that she is no longer a virgin is known to His Royal Highness Prince Jing, she will commit the crime of bullying the king and will die together with her family. Chapter 3. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ling Yuan respectfully said, "Please, Your Highness Prince Jing, take back your life. Yuan heir has long had feelings for someone else, and I hope Your Highness Prince Jing can choose someone else." Prince Jing's gentle and jade-like smile instantly solidified, replaced by a sinister threat. He glared angrily and grabbed Ling Yuan's wrist tightly. In a voice that only 2 people could hear clearly, he threatened, "No one can refuse me." How brave a little woman is. If he could obtain funding from the Minister of Revenue, He would surely win people's hearts and help him ascend to the throne of God as soon as possible. A small woman, he treats her like this, but to his surprise, this woman is not worthy of praise. If you don't marry me, I have countless ways to make you unable to stay in this capital. How dare anyone disobey him from childhood to adulthood? When did he fail when he took it step by step? I heard that the legitimate daughter of the Minister of Revenue's family loves playing the cheen the most. She practices diligently day by day and approaches step by step, making her the envy of many women in the capital. Why did she make a mistake just before the door? Prince Jing gritted his teeth and glared angrily at Ling Yuan, his hand unconsciously wanting to crush her. Ling Yuan was extremely disgusted by such a person. The pain emanating from her wrist made her eyebrows furrow slightly. At this moment, Prince Jing had a slightly gentle and jade-like appearance. The madman was so fierce that he wished he could devour her alive. If she doesn't do anything else, I'm afraid this extreme Prince Jing will tie her up and take her directly to Prince Jing's mansion. Ling Yuan thought of seeing a powder in the system mall and immediately exchanged it from the system. With a wave of white powder, not only did he inhale a lot, but the rest also got onto Prince Jing's body. Subconsciously, Prince Jing released his hand and quickly patted the white powder on his body, like flour, making it hard to tell. When he approached Ling Yuan again, his body was instantly covered in red rashes, one after another, like mushrooms sprouting from the ground after rain. The itching of scratching his heart and liver instantly spread to his whole body. He instinctively scratched, but the more he scratched, the more itchy it became. That handsome and youthful face was like an ugly toad in the blink of an eye, some of which had already been caught and kept overflowing with pus. This scene makes people feel nauseous. Ling Yuan almost vomited when she saw Prince Jing like this, covered her mouth, and stopped looking at him. This is a powder that can make a man rash all over his body when he touches a woman. Prince Jing was about to step forward and grab her hair, forcing her to ask, "What medicine did you give me?" But he found that with every step he took, his body became increasingly itchy. Prince Jing clenched his fist with one hand, pointed angrily at Ling Yuan with the other, and even heard a clear, click sound in his knuckles. The Ledger King has recorded this. I will definitely make your life in this capital worse than death. Almost 2 words squeezed out from between her teeth, his resentment and anger, but Ling Yuan felt amused in her heart. Prince Jing shook his sleeves and left, directly getting on the carriage and returning to Prince Jing's mansion. The Crown Prince saw Prince Jing walking out of the residence of the Minister of Revenue, and his whole body seemed to be shrouded in a thick cloud of darkness. His anger in his eyes seemed like a volcano that could erupt at any moment. Crisis resolution. Upon hearing the system's prompt, Ling Yuan breathed a sigh of relief and suddenly relaxed. Nowadays, the residence of the Minister of Revenue will not be peaceful. If she wants to give birth to her offspring safely and complete the task, she must go to a safer and more secluded place. Thinking of this, I went back to my room and tidied up some luggage, prepared my money, and ran away. Just as he left the mansion, he bumped into the Crown Prince and sat down on the ground. Ouch! Who's so ungrateful? It hurts me so much. Ling Yuan let out a scream, not a bit like a lady from a wealthy family. She carried a small backpack and her petite face was almost twisted together, rubbing her buttocks in pain. Oh! You actually said that goo is not good. Looking. The Crown Prince's face was gloomy, and the temperature around him suddenly dropped a bit. Although it was sunny spring in March, it was like a cold winter. This woman must have made an agreement with Prince Jing, but is she so eager to enter Prince Jing's mansion? The fact that His Highness Prince Jing publicly requested the imperial decree to grant marriage is well known throughout the court. This woman has hooked up with His Highness Prince Jing and dares to come and find him. What a bare heart leopard gallbladder. Ling Yuan heard a familiar voice and then lifted her head to look. Seeing the Crown Prince's displeased expression and disregarding the pain in her buttocks, she crossed her waist and said, "How could you be like this? Is it okay if the person who was hit was me? The Crown Prince sneered, it's ridiculous. You're walking without looking at the road and still pointing fingers and cursing here. This woman is indiscriminate, unreasonable, and noisy. He is really idle, and he doesn't know what medicine he took the wrong. As soon as the dark guard heard about her, he came to see her. He was extremely disappointed. He no longer looked at Ling Yuan and turned around, leaving the Ministry of Revenue with a disdainful expression on his face. Is Your Highness the Crown Prince sick? Ling Yuan rubbed her buttocks and muttered softly. But the maid covered her mouth in time, and if this words were to be heard by the Crown Prince, it would be even worse. Ling Yuan's father was puzzled when he saw the Crown Prince leaving his respectful home and saw his Royal Highness's gloomy face. Seeing my own daughter carrying a backpack, my heart feels like a mix of flavors. After returning to Prince Jing's mansion, His Highness immediately summoned the imperial physician to diagnose his pulse. After observing and questioning for a while, the imperial physician arched his hand and said, I have never seen this disease in decades of medical practice. I apologize for my incompetence. King Jing immediately became furious and kicked away the old woman with a white beard, saying, Quack doctor, quack doctor. Hurry up and call the hospital envoy of the Grand Hospital to see me. As a result, the hospital envoy of Taiyuan Hospital gave the same answer. Prince Jing swept all the teapots and cups on the table and fell to the ground. The palace maids and father-in-law were even more frightened and knelt on the ground trembling under the anger of Prince Jing. Get out. Let's all get out of here. Prince Jing was about to walk towards several eunuchs and palace maids when he suddenly felt extremely itchy, as if approaching Ling Yuan. The palace maids and father-in-law immediately retreated, and Prince Jing smashed various valuable vases in the room, with pens, ink, paper, and inkstones scattered all over the ground. On this day, Prince Jing, who was as warm as jade, unexpectedly fell ill with a strange disease. As soon as he approached a woman, he would feel extremely itchy all over. A great change in temperament. Even the hospital chief of Tai Hospital is at a loss. The news that Prince Jing was seriously ill and unable to approach the woman spread throughout the capital, and many rumors kept circulating. Good you Ling Yuan. How dare you frame me like this? I not only want your family to perish, but also your life. I don't know what scratched it, but Prince Jing's delicate face was covered in a few faint bloodstains. Fresh red blood flowed down his cheeks, and a murderous aura filled his body, like a cultivator crawling out of hell. The tightly clenched fist was embedded with nails in his palm, exuding traces of blood, and his messy hair added a touch of malice to his overall temperament. Chapter 4. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 4. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. What is Your Highness the Crown Prince doing? The Minister of Revenue had just returned from the morning and walked towards Ling Yuan, slowly helping her up, with a hint of doubt between his eyebrows and eyes. His Highness the Crown Prince doesn't usually walk around with the courtiers. How could he come to the mansion without a notice today? Ling Yuan rubbed her buttocks and told her father about today's glorious deeds. Upon hearing this, the Minister of Revenue was furious. His face instantly turned pale, his angry eyes widened, his lips pursed tightly, and his chin trembled slightly. Rebel girl! You have offended His Royal Highness Prince Jing and also the Crown Prince. Even if you have 100 lives, it is not enough to quell the anger of the Emperor. Come and apologize for your father. The Minister of Revenue was extremely angry, and the maid beside her had never seen her master so angry before. She was even more frightened and dared not take a breath. I don't. Why apologize? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't want to marry that Prince Jing. And I was hurt by the collision. I am the victim, right? Ling Yuan's petite face exuded a hint of stubbornness, and tears welled up in her eyes. I don't know anything. Bai teaches you etiquette. Someone. Take the young lady down for me. Starting today, you are not allowed to step out of the room without my permission. After finishing speaking, he turned his back and waved his sleeve. Several servants around him received orders to escort Ling Yuan towards her room. No. Dad. You can't ban my feet. I was right. Ling Yuan shouted as she was escorted away, her tone filled with grievances and anger until her voice gradually faded away. The Minister of Revenue then looked towards the direction where the voice disappeared. He slowly closed his eyes, shook his head, and then let out a sigh. Ling Yuan struggled all day without eating or drinking. The next day, through a window, one could hear the neighbors outside spreading rumors that the Crown Prince was coming to personally welcome the Empress and select the Crown Princess today. Lure, I heard that the Crown Prince is going to personally welcome the prospective Crown Princess into the palace today, but is it true? Miss Hui, it's true. Lure felt slightly relieved and a faint blush appeared on her face. Then you can go and take a look for me today. Today is a day of great joy for the Crown Prince. How can you not go and witness His Highness's demeanor? Lure is a proud person. She has always been the one who secretly and openly asked Ling Yuan to meet the Crown Prince, Prince Jing, and even the little Marquis. This maid is eager to have more opportunities to meet and show off with these wealthy children. Can. Lure frowned slightly, very hesitant. She was ordered by the master to keep an eye on the young lady. What if the young lady escapes during her absence? Isn't the door locked? And the key is on you, and I haven't eaten or had the strength to escape. You can rest assured to go and see the Crown Prince's great celebration for me. Lure blushed with embarrassment, and after thinking about it, she was right. The door was tightly locked, and only she had the key. Where could her young lady go? Lure was ordered to run away quickly. Ling Yuan immediately flipped through the window and asked her to stay obediently in the room. She's right, why should she be punished? Just as I breathed in the fresh outdoor air, my eyes suddenly turned black and I felt my feet soaring. She seems to be half wrapped in a burlap bag. Even the arm was tightly tied and unable to move. No matter how hard she struggled, it was of no use. The air inside the bag became increasingly thin, and when she was almost fainting, she immediately felt a pain in her buttocks and fell to the ground. The sack was removed from her body, and the sudden brightness made her feel a bit uncomfortable. The blurry gaze looked around, as if it were an unfamiliar environment. Your Highness, the person has arrived. A powerful voice knelt on one knee beside Ling Yuan and arched its hand to report. Let's go down. As the words fell, the guards respectfully ordered them to step down, and the vast room appeared particularly desolate. The sound came from behind the screen, but it made Ling Yuan's pupils suddenly shrink and she became alert. It was His Highness Prince Jing. Miss Ling, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Only the sound was heard, but no one was seen. There was a faint shadow casting on the screen. Oh, isn't this His Highness Prince Jing? I wonder why he caught me. She detested His Highness Prince Jing and didn't have a good attitude towards him. Ling Yuan's face was gloomy, how dare she catch her? She definitely wants to find the right time to retaliate and go back. Why? A cold laugh came from behind the screen. If you hand over the antidote, I will keep you dead. If you don't hand over the antidote, I will make you my concubine from now on. The last sentence almost squeezed out from between his teeth, and his gritted teeth made Ling Yuan feel a burst of laughter. The crisp and melodious laughter, like a silver bell, became particularly piercing in Prince Jing's ears. His Highness Prince Jing is afraid that he may be in a hurry to seek medical treatment. Even the imperial physician has no solution to this illness. As a young woman, I don't understand medical skills. How can I say that there is an antidote? I'm afraid Prince Jing's mind is not working properly, is it? Requesting someone to give an antidote, is that all you're asking for? Without saying a word, tie people up and maintain this attitude. Do you need an antidote? No. There's plenty of poison. Bang. A loud bang interrupted Ling Yuan's thoughts, and the sound echoed throughout the peaceful room. The screen fell in response, and layers of dust were lifted up in the narrow room. If you continue to pretend to be foolish and refuse to hand over the antidote, I will make sure that you cannot survive or die. The clear outline of Prince Jing's face was stained with a layer of blood-red haze. His eyes were crimson, and he tightly gripped Ling Yuan's soft face with one hand. Several red marks were clearly visible. He didn't care about the efficacy of the medicine, even if it was a heart-wrenching itch, he would definitely force her to hand over the antidote. Ling Yuan's deep pupils shimmered slightly with resentment, staring fiercely at His Royal Highness Prince Jing in front of her, Your Highness the Crown Prince. The legitimate young lady of the Minister of Revenue's family has been kidnapped by Prince Jing. A guard-like person arched his hand and reported to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Upon hearing this, His Royal Highness's eyebrows furrowed into a Sichuan character, his eyes darkened, and his handsome face suddenly tightened, emitting a terrifying aura all over his body. This woman is so promiscuous and unrestrained. What was tied up by Prince Jing? I'm afraid they colluded long ago, right? It was carrying a backpack and being taken away by Prince Jing. Are you so eager to be with Prince Jing? The Crown Prince was left completely bewildered by Ling Yuan. Why did he collude with Prince Jing's big boat and come to find him? The more he continued to think, the more gloomy his expression became. This woman has such great ambition. Don't worry. His Highness the Crown Prince spoke sternly, then waved his hand and carried the Empress Li's daughter into the palace. The Empress has heard that the Li family has had a good pregnancy constitution for generations, and offspring are of utmost importance to the royal family. In order to ensure the stability of the Crown Prince's position, it is necessary to have an heir to prevent the previous ministers from discussing it. Chapter 5. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If you dare to touch me, I will make you leave without leaving for 3 days. Finally, Prince Jing couldn't bear the piercing itch and shook his hand hard. Ling Yuan stumbled and tilted her body, barely stabilizing herself. Looking at Ling Yuan with crimson eyes and a threatening tone, he looked like a very guarded little white rabbit. He curled his lips, exuding a sinister and bold expression. A hint of disdain flashed in his dark and deep eyes, and his body exuded a chilling and terrifying aura. How dare you even threaten me? I'll see when you'll hand over the antidote. After speaking, he waved his hand and signaled to take the person down. Ling Yuan was tightly held down by the guards, and the pain that came from all over her body made her struggle a little. However, the more she struggled, the more the guards tightly grasped her. Let's go. The guard shouted loudly, causing Ling Yuan's heart and mind to tremble. Ling Yuan secretly asked the system, "Can I escape from here?" The system determined it to be unreasonable. "Can you alleviate the pain on me?" The system determines it to be reasonable. "Since I can't escape, I can only find a way to reduce my suffering." Now she owes the system 4 children, and if she continues to owe like this, she's afraid she won't be able to pay it off. During the conversation, Ling Yuan had already been escorted by the guards to the cold underground. A eerie and terrifying aura permeated the surroundings. With the faint glow of the fire on the wall, one could even see the forest white bones exposed under the flames. Ling Yuan gritted her teeth and even her fingers were trembling uncontrollably. A guard pulled the whip a few times and sprayed a sip of wine on it. Before Ling Yuan could react, it landed fiercely on her body. The only sound that came to her ears was a piercing sound, causing her clothes to shatter and her snow-white skin to leave a striking bright red. A dense tingling sensation came from all over her body, and bright red and hot blood flowed down her skin. I heard that you are the eldest lady of the Minister of Revenue's family. If you hand over the antidote, perhaps you can suffer less skin and flesh pain. Ling Yuanbei gritted her teeth tightly, and the pain seemed to engulf her completely. With just a hint of consciousness, she said, "Nothing means nothing. She hates how Prince Jing treats her. She's angry, why should she be treated like this?" The guard saw that Ling Yuan was so stubborn and wanted to continue his punishment, when suddenly a furious shout from behind, exuding an imperial aura, came. "Stop!" Ling Yuan's vision was already blurred, and she could only vaguely see a silhouette in the direction of the light. The man's back was radiant, his eyes were dense, and his white and slender knuckles were protruding, holding a bloody sword tightly. The imperial breath swept like a storm. After seeing the arrival, a group of guards trembled like quails and crawled down the tunnel. "Prince. Your Highness." Ling Yuan also fainted at this moment. His Highness the Crown Prince wielded his sword, and in an instant, several guards fell to the ground. He walked up to Ling Yuan and cut off the handcuffs on her body one by one. Just as she was about to fall forward, he was firmly caught by the Crown Prince. The blood stains on Ling Yuan's body soaked through the Crown Prince's bright yellow robe. He had a cold and stern expression, pursed his lips, and a bloody storm gradually brewing in his eyes. Ling Yuan's petite and soft body was carefully held in the arms of the Crown Prince. Surprisingly, the Crown Prince, who has always been obsessed with cleanliness, would step forward to save such a promiscuous and unrestrained woman. He really feels foolish at this moment. "Isn't this Big Brother? Why are you interested in coming to my mansion?" Prince Jing's face had already developed many red rashes, leaning against the prison door but still smiling warmly like jade, as if the two were accidentally meeting on the street. At the moment when the Crown Prince saw Prince Jing, his face completely darkened and his expression became tense and displeased. He said, "Isn't it because of this little woman, second brother, who is so narrow-minded? Big Brother is joking. This woman has threatened me several times, and I wanted to give her a small lesson." Before Prince Jing could finish speaking, he was interrupted by the Crown Prince's cold snort. "Teach her a lesson. I see you want her life. She is the legitimate eldest daughter of the Minister of Revenue, do you know? She is also a citizen of our country and the daughter of a court official. How dare you persecute the people like this and harm the daughter of the court officials? It really makes my father feel cold." As the words fell, the Crown Prince swiftly pressed his sword against Prince Jing's neck, leaving a shallow bloodstain. "Just kidding, if this woman can take out the antidote, I will no longer make things difficult for her." It is definitely an unknown move to engage in violence with the Crown Prince now. It's better to take a step back and leave the Green Mountains without fear of burning firewood. "I will definitely give you an explanation." The Crown Prince looked at the person in his arms with a pale complexion, and a strange feeling surged in his heart. He could no longer continue to delay. After collecting his sword, he quickly sent Ling Yuan back to the mansion. The Minister of Revenue saw the Crown Prince's gentle smile at first, and his own daughter's pale complexion and weak breathing. He immediately respectfully invited her in. "The imperial physician is treating Ling Yuan." His Highness the Crown Prince stood in front of Ling Yuan's chamber with his hands down, and his tense nerves gradually relaxed. "Thank you, Your Highness the Crown Prince, for taking the initiative to save us in a timely manner. If it weren't for Your Highness the Crown Prince today, I really don't know what to do." The Minister of Revenue can be said to be extremely respectful to the Crown Prince, bowing his hand and expressing gratitude in his tone. "What is this, sir? My younger brother is a bit stubborn by nature and treats women with indifference." The Crown Prince frowned and reached out to help the Minister of Revenue, who understood what the Crown Prince meant. "It is an undeniable fact that Your Highness has shown kindness to the young lady. Don't refuse, Your Highness. The young lady is indeed more lively, and she collided with the adults the day before yesterday. The adults not only didn't blame her, but also saved her life. Such kindness cannot be repaid by me and the young lady." The Minister of Revenue looked heartbroken, indicating that he was a loyal minister. At this moment, the imperial physician walked out of the room and carefully closed the door. He saw two people arching their hands and saying, Your Highness, the Minister of Revenue, Miss has escaped danger. Now, as long as you have a good rest and recuperation, it's just. The doctor's expression suddenly became complex, with a hesitant expression. The heart of the Minister of Revenue instantly rose to his throat, and fine beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Everyone in the court knows that the Minister of Revenue is famous for doting on his wife and daughter. If something happens to his own daughter, his wife will definitely not spare him lightly. The Crown Prince understood in an instant and called the imperial physician aside, bowing to the Minister of Revenue and saying, "Please wait a moment, sir." This imperial physician was the one who diagnosed the Crown Prince in the palace a few days ago, and he is absolutely trustworthy. If the imperial physician has anything to say, just say it directly. The Crown Prince made a gesture of "please" after speaking. If I'm not mistaken, the young lady is already pregnant. Although the imperial physician's expression was complex, he calmly arched his hand. Chapter 6. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 6. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 7. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 7. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After leaving the Crown Prince's mansion, the Emperor went to court and had his father-in-law call Prince Jing to his study to discuss matters with him. "My son, please see my father. Long live my father. Long live my father." The standard salute of Prince Jing may seem calm on the surface, but he is particularly vigilant in his heart. "Get up, do you know what happened today?" The Emperor looked at the memorial in his hand, and his calm tone added a touch of contentment. "I have been feeling unwell these days and have not heard anything. I apologize for my foolishness." Prince Jing arched his hand and said, "If I were to reveal everything myself, wouldn't it be self-destructive if it weren't the same thing as what my father said?" Upon hearing this, the Emperor was furious and threw the memorial in his hand directly onto the table. The father-in-law immediately knelt down to the ground, his face turning pale with iron. The anger of the dragon's face was not something that ordinary people could bear. "Do you know that nowadays the people in the capital are spreading rumors that you are holding a decree to marry the daughter of the Minister of Revenue without permission? The decree has been chopped to pieces. You have disgraced the royal family." At this moment, the Emperor was burning with anger and roaring like thunder. "I understand my mistake." Prince Jing immediately admitted his mistake when he saw the Emperor just saying this. If anything were found out, he would definitely not be able to stay in this palace anymore. "Please see the Crown Prince." Prince Jing was taken aback and his face turned pale in an instant. Didn't the Crown Prince have already been poisoned by him? How could it be at this moment? "Xian." The Crown Prince arched his hand and said, "My lord, see your father. Free of charge." The Emperor felt relieved when he saw that the Crown Prince was fine. Those imperial physicians were not raised for free, so he must reward them well in the future. "What is the Crown Prince doing?" Upon hearing that my second brother was seriously ill, even the imperial physician was helpless, and there were many rumors circulating in the capital. The courtiers boldly plead with their father to cancel the marriage of their second younger brother to the Minister of Household, Mississippi. The Emperor suddenly became interested, and surprisingly, it was for the legitimate young lady of the Ministry of Revenue. What a woman! She has convinced both of her sons one after another. The Crown Prince saw that the Emperor's eyes were deep and he didn't know what he was thinking, so he continued with a trial mentality, saying, "My son knows that the Minister of Revenue is a high-ranking official of the court, and he has won the favor of his father and Emperor. The reputation of the second younger brother has already affected the royal face. If the daughter of the Minister of Revenue enters the palace at this time, the Minister of Revenue will surely be heartbroken." When the late Emperor was present, he said to him that these important officials of the court had accompanied him along the way, but we must not let loyal and virtuous officials feel cold-hearted. Without loyal ministers, there would be no him today. The Minister of Revenue has always been hardworking, only caring for his wife and daughter. The words spoken by the Crown Prince are also reasonable. Only once, the Emperor pondered for a long time before saying, "Thank you to my father. Long live my father. Long live my father. Prince Jing, I have conferred upon you the title of king solely because of your resilient character and sincere attitude towards others. But what are you doing now? From now on, you will be banned from entering Prince Jing's mansion. I understand my mistakes. I will abide by my father's teachings. You all step down, I'm tired." After receiving orders, the two respectfully stepped down. The two people outside the hall were even more at odds with each other. Second brother seems to be getting better from this illness. Although this was a concern, Prince Jing sounded particularly cold and piercing. The two may seem peaceful on the surface, but in fact, both sides are well aware. "Your Highness, please don't bother." Prince Jing arched his hand, with a cold and stern expression that instantly exuded a chilling and solemn killing intent. His Royal Highness knows that the poison must belong to Prince Jing, but the thief has already taken the poison and committed suicide, and he can't find any evidence now. I hope my second younger brother will be more careful recently. His Highness the Crown Prince left this sentence and returned to his mansion. Ling Yuan was lying in bed, feeling as if someone was coming. "I heard that the young lady is in your mansion, so I came to pick her up and go back." When the Minister of Revenue saw the Crown Prince return, he had been waiting for a long time. He also felt strange in his heart. His daughter was already recovering in the mansion, so how could he have the strength to run so far? But that's okay. My family is no longer safe, and if I provoke Prince Jing, I don't know what he will do. If there were someone else to take care of him by His Highness the Crown Prince's side, he would have been grateful to my daughter, Lord Shangshu. You can still rest assured. Why don't you leave your daughter in this prince's mansion to cultivate for a while? The imperial physician in this palace will do his best to cure her. The imperial physician has already felt the happy pulse, but time is not right. I want to see whose seed this woman is pregnant with. Keep her under your nose to avoid any further trouble. Upon hearing this sentence, the Minister of Revenue's expression changed from joy to sorrow. His eyes looked down anxiously, his eyebrows unable to stretch for a long time, accompanied by a heavy sigh. Hey. Lord Shangshu, what are your concerns? You may as well speak frankly. Although he also intended to leave Ling Yuan at the Crown Prince's mansion, today he collided with many nobles. If this collided with the Emperor, the consequences would be unimaginable. So he arched his hand again and said, "My daughter has been a bit unruly lately. There are many rules in this palace, and I am worried." His Royal Highness smiled and said, "It's okay, Lord Shangshu, just rest assured." Although the Minister of Revenue was worried, he couldn't say anything about the Crown Prince, so he had to wait for Ling Yuan's injury to heal before picking him up and going back. Ling Yuan fell into a coma again and slept into the latter half of the night. System, transmit to Prince Jing's sleeping quarters. Ling Yuan draped her hair and her eyes were like deep lakes, seemingly calm but carrying a surging murderous intent. Host, you already owe 4 children. I'll give you a cheaper one this time. Ling Yuan thought to herself, if you owe me, I'll owe you. Even if she can't complete the task and be wiped out by the system, she won't be able to retaliate against Prince Jing. I'm sure she'll be angry to death. Cool. As soon as she finished speaking, she arrived at the Prince Jing's dormitory in the blink of an eye. As soon as Prince Jing suddenly opened his eyes on the bed, he saw a pale face. Ling Yuan was standing by Prince Jing's bed, her eyes glaring fiercely with bloodstains, and her scattered hair blowing straight onto his cheek. Her eyes were as alluring as silk, her slightly white red lips were slightly raised, and her skin was as pale as bone, like a seductive witch sucking human blood. Before His Highness Prince Jing could react in time, he raised the powder in his hand and couldn't move in an instant. Oh no! It was his carelessness. Ling Yuan also received a dagger from somewhere, starting and falling, with a few drops of blood dripping onto the ground. Do you really dare to touch me? I won't say it for 3 days and you'll be gone. She elegantly flicked the scattered strands of hair on Prince Jing's face, watching as he was covered in fine beads of sweat on his forehead. She glared at her angrily with wide eyes, but could not make any sound. The appearance that she could only endure made her feel incredibly happy. On that day, how Prince Jing tightly pinched her face, she returned it with 100 times her strength and poured all the other powder into his mouth. Ling Yuan saw a faint flame not far away, and her eyes moved slightly. She walked towards the flame step by step, like a noble fairy, both surprised and delighted. Goodbye, Your Highness Prince Jing. Chapter 8. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After speaking, he threw the candlestick in his hand directly onto the ground, and the flickering flames quickly spread along the carpet. Prince Jing felt that life was rapidly passing like a plate of loose sand that could not be grasped. The fire grew fiercer and fiercer, and the cries and splashes of water from the palace attendants were incessant. Prince Jing can only look at the most desperate situation but cannot do anything. He caused her bruises and bruises all over her body. Do you really think what she said was a joke? Ling Yuan immediately flipped out of the window before starting the fire and walked all the way towards the Crown Prince's mansion. She suddenly felt a pain on her forehead and stumbled back a few steps. Who doesn't sleep in the middle of the night? Ling Yuan complained with her mouth full, and there was a faint tearing pain from the wound on her body. Oh! Who should I be? I wandered around this palace like a lonely ghost in the middle of the night. He glanced at Ling Yuan, who was full of complaints, with a hint of mockery added to his casual expression. Where will she go so late? In this direction. Shouldn't we go find Prince Jing? How could she still think of Prince Jing when he treated her so well? Since ancient times, women have resorted to all means to climb the ranks of the powerful. What means have he never seen before? How could Gu be so disdainful to her? Suddenly, the sky darkened and dark clouds shrouded the entire palace, as if it were shrouded in thick clouds. Thunder roared, deafening, rain poured down like pouring rain, pouring down from the sky. His Highness the Crown Prince quickly judged that it must be a sudden rain and walked towards the study, where the door closed tightly with a loud bang. Ling Yuan was suddenly drenched in heavy rain and turned into a drowned rat. The massive fire was completely extinguished by a sudden rain. The rash on Prince Jing's face slowly faded away, his eyes filled with hatred, his twisted face, and his crimson eyes. His trembling fists seemed to be about to break something. His blood flowed along his fingertips. Ling Yuan, good, you are doing very well. I must be at odds with you. His Highness the Crown Prince lit the candlestick and looked at the book in his hand, his eyebrows furrowing slightly. Although he looked at the scroll, his mind was not on top of it. Did she still wholeheartedly follow Prince Jing when he treated her like this? No wonder she doesn't want the position of Crown Princess. But what is it that gave birth to his child and was with Prince Jing? Is it because his beloved offspring doesn't belong to him, such a wicked woman? I have repeatedly stepped forward to save her, yet I am so disrespectful. After a sudden rain, Prince Jing was rescued from a pile of ruins by his father-in-law and palace maids. The surroundings were in ruins, with several black marks on his handsome face, and his pants legs were also burned, resulting in burns on his skin. Ling Yuan was slowly wiping away the rainwater from her body in the room, and her wounds were soaked in the sudden and intense rain, causing even greater pain. Her last repair water was used by the Crown Prince, and now she has to recuperate. A few days later, the imperial physician visited Ling Yuan again and was entrusted by His Royal Highness to confirm that the fetus in her abdomen was safe. The imperial physician looked heavy and pondered for a long time before saying, "The fetus in the young lady's womb is still alive, but the young lady's body is too weak to withstand turmoil. The fetus. Alright, you go down first. The Crown Prince looked at the old Chinese medicine practitioner with a gloomy expression, and without further ado, he knew. This is the child he longs for. Not only the Queen's wish, but also his wish. He will keep this child no matter what. If it weren't for him, he would definitely torture her severely. Starting from today, Miss Ling will be confined to the Crown Prince's mansion, and everyone will take good care of me. Mrs. Injury is still half healed, and you can't even afford to lose a few hundred heads. The Crown Prince clenched his fists tightly under his sleeve, making a gurgling sound. The palace attendants even lowered their heads to obey orders, afraid of angering the Crown Prince. No. What does Your Highness the Crown Prince mean? Ling Yuan's plump cheeks turned slightly red, her eyebrows furrowed deeply, and her expression became even more solemn. Is this going to ban her feet? This won't work. Although she was injured, wouldn't banning her feet be killing her? Once confined to this Crown Prince's mansion, rumors and gossip will spread outside, which will be detrimental to both her and the Crown Prince. Because His Highness Prince Jing has already caused the royal family to lose face. If His Highness the Crown Prince also does the same for her, the Emperor may want to execute her all over the family. The more Ling Yuan thought about it, the more uncomfortable she felt. She immediately got out of bed and ran all the way to find the Crown Prince, disregarding the palace's obstruction. The Crown Prince saw Ling Yuan running along with her skirt in hand, and the floating up and down in a certain place couldn't help but arouse imagination. What exactly do you mean? Why ban my feet? Ling Yuan was furious and pointed at the Crown Prince, cursing angrily. Where does this look like a lady from a wealthy family? Lonely for your own good. Are you really stupid or fake stupid? The Crown Prince was suddenly criticized by Ling Yuan, and a sense of disgust filled his heart. This woman really doesn't know where to go, she's so weak. Where else does she want to go? What a kind heart to treat as donkey liver and lungs. Am I stupid? Ling Yuan tilted her head, with a slight sneer outlined at the corner of her mouth. The disdain in her eyes seemed to be a satire on the whole world. Oh, Your Highness the Crown Prince is truly a wise and divine warrior. Ling Yuan spoke angrily, and the Crown Prince became increasingly impatient. There was nothing to say about this ignorant woman, so the palace immediately escorted her back to the side hall. 2 dark guards, Wu Ying and Wu Feng, were secretly dispatched to guard her. The Empress heard that the Crown Prince, who has never been close to women, has left his courtiers and important daughters not only in the palace, but also in the Crown Prince's mansion. Previously poisoned by someone, but unable to find the culprit, it is very likely that the woman's strategy was behind it. In order to climb the ladder of glory, wealth, and glory, he poisoned His Highness and ultimately saved him. What an ambitious woman. If such a woman were in the palace, she would definitely not be peaceful in the future. Xiao Xinzi. The Empress changed her face from a raging expression, and her expression became even softer, making her look completely different from before. I am here. Go, prepare some excellent meals for our palace, send them to the daughter of the Minister of Revenue, and entrust the imperial kitchen to take good care of her. The Empress deliberately bit harder in the last few words, and Xiao Xinzi's eyes twitched to know what the Empress wanted him to do. Cha. My father.in.law left immediately after receiving the order, and truthfully told the imperial dining room that it was the Empress's wish. The meal will be ready soon. Miss, this is the meal sent by the Empress. She said that it is because she saved the prince's favor for her. The palace maid Fu slowly brought the meal in her hand to Ling Yuan's face. After delivering it, he didn't say much and quickly closed the door before leaving. Ling Yuan opened the lunchbox, and the aroma filled her face. A whole roasted duck appeared in front of Ling Yuan. The aroma is pungent, the color is bright, and the appearance with a slight oily light indicates that it is fresh, tender, and juicy. Warning, please do not ingest toxic food by mistake. The sound of the system rings again. Ling Yuan's heart froze for a moment. Why is this? I saved the crown prince, why does this queen want to poison me? Or is it that the palace maid who admires the crown prince tampered with? No, no, this palace is too dangerous. Little life is not guaranteed. Let's hurry and escape. She covered her lunchbox and searched for the window in the room, ready to flip through it again. Chapter 9. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 9. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The rash on His Highness Prince Jing's body has healed, and the imperial physician said to him, Your Highness has recovered now and has not left any root cause of illness. Please rest assured, Your Highness. However, Your Highness has been poisoned by a strange poison, and it will be difficult for him to have any offspring in the future. I understand, please leave first. Prince Jing's voice was deep, with a hint of chilliness. His melancholic black pupils were like a quiet deep pool, terrifyingly cold. His finger was broken, wrapped in a cloth around the wound, but his clenched fist made the wound crack again, with a faint hint of blood seeping out. Your Highness, I just saw the little letter from the Empress's side and was entrusted by the Empress to go to the imperial kitchen to pick up food. I want to treat her well, the daughter of the minister. A eunuch bowed and came to report. Prince Jing's eyes were cold, and he silently scanned the little eunuch. He dares to speculate on his thoughts at will, but he is not afraid of death. Reward. After a sentence fell, the father-in-law nodded and bowed, with a smile on his face even stronger. Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you very much, Your Highness. After receiving the reward, he immediately withdrew, but was quietly killed by the dark guards and thrown directly into a well in the cold palace. What Prince Jing dislikes the most is having ambitious servants who speculate about the master's thoughts. This kind of servant cannot be kept. He quickly picked up a pen and paper, wrote a letter, and sent the secret guard to deliver it to the queen. After receiving the letter, the Empress suddenly understood that the daughter of the Shangshu had offended His Royal Highness Prince Jing, and this letter was an invitation to join forces with her. After reading the letter, the queen slowly approached the candle and burned it completely, and then sent someone to deliver a handmade sachet. After receiving the sachet, Prince Jing was overjoyed and took good care of it. He immediately sent a secret guard to issue a killing order against Ling Yuan. My son, please see my mother. My mother is 1,000 years old, 1,000 years old. The crown prince knelt on the ground and saluted the Empress. Why did Empress Dowager suddenly find him today? I usually don't care about him unless it's related to the issue of offspring. Huang'er, hurry up and sit down next to your mother to speak. The Empress is particularly kind today, her gaze towards the crown prince filled with love. The crown prince stood up obediently and became slightly vigilant in the face of the sudden kindness. The queen is very wrong today. Yes, Empress mother. The Empress saw the crown prince walking towards her side step by step, holding on to his hand and saying to him. A few days ago, my mother and queen asked you to bring the Li family daughter to the palace. In a few days, it will be the day of conferring the title of crown princess. You must be well prepared and not make that girl feel cold. As long as the crown prince is held back, there is no worry that Prince Jing will not be able to deal with the daughter of the Shangshu. That's all I can do. The crown prince slightly lowered his eyes and wore a stern face. Although he was unhappy, he could not lose his courtesy. I have my own sense of propriety. If there is nothing else for my mother, I will leave first. The Empress said so much to him today, probably not only because of the issue of the heir, but now it seems like she is delaying time. Can't it be? Huang'er, how about having dinner with my mother today? Thinking of rushing. How can that be done? I have important matters to attend to recently and cannot delay for too long. I will definitely spend more time with my mother on another day. After speaking, he lifted his foot and left. The Empress glared angrily at the direction in which the Crown Prince had left, her eyebrows furrowed tightly, and her cheeks became slightly flushed with anger. Bang! A loud bang echoed through Ling Yuan's room. At this moment, while drinking water, she followed the sound and was suddenly surprised to find that she was a person covered in bruises. Good guy. Where did this fall from? Ling Yuan was not at all afraid to approach the motionless person lying on the ground with a novel expression on her face. She lightly reached out her hand to test her breathing. Fortunately, we're still alive. She instinctively patted her heart, beating wildly like a drum. If a dead person suddenly falls and dies in her room, I'm afraid the emperor will definitely make a big fuss. But as long as a person is alive, there is still salvation. Without any hesitation, Ling Yuan immediately exchanged a small amount of repair water from the system for him to feed in a cup. Upon hearing the hurried footsteps outside the door, I immediately returned to bed and pretended to be asleep. Immediately after, the gate was pushed open by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. That person quickly disappeared without a trace. The Crown Prince rushed to Ling Yuan's side in a hurry, and only then did he relax his tense nerves when he saw her safe and sound. You all go out. The Crown Prince said coldly, looking at Ling Yuan lying in bed, but his eyes became softer. When did Gu become so devoted to this woman? As if sensing the Crown Prince's scorching gaze scanning her face, Ling Yuan's eyelids moved restlessly. The Crown Prince instantly realized that he was pretending to sleep. Why, can I personally teach you etiquette and numerology? Upon hearing this, Ling Yuan sat up drowsily and looked at the Crown Prince, saying, Your Highness, is there something wrong? My daughter has been feeling drowsy lately and is still recovering from her injuries. I hope you don't blame me for not being polite enough. The Crown Prince's gentle gaze showed a hint of displeasure. My heart felt as if it was being heavily suppressed by something. It was very strange. Well, as long as you have nothing to do. I want to ask if you have any antidote for the rash on Prince Jing's body. Upon hearing this, Ling Yuan blessed her body and said, I have no antidote. The medicine only lasts for 3 days, and when the time comes, it will naturally be relieved. The Crown Prince was taken aback. This is quite unexpected. How could this woman easily tell him the truth like this? Not requesting anything. After Ling Yuan finished speaking, the Crown Prince withdrew his composure and left with a flick of his sleeve. Study. Tell me, but what happened? The Crown Prince coldly scanned the 2 dark guards kneeling on the ground in front of him, with a hint of anger in his tone. Your Highness, today Prince Jing's secret guard came to assassinate the daughter of the Minister of Revenue. Wu Feng and I tried our best to intercept her, but unfortunately, we were seriously injured. Fortunately, we were rescued by the young lady. The Crown Prince playfully squinted his eyes and looked at the 2 people covered in scars, as if thinking about something. This woman must be skilled in medicine, and she is definitely much more skilled than the imperial physicians in the palace. There is hope for his underlying illness, not to mention that she still has a child in her belly. We must take care of her thoroughly. Today's matter, let me investigate for you. If you can't find it, bring your head up and meet you. Yes. Your Highness, may I see the Crown Princess? The Crown Prince thought about what the Empress had said to him today and decided to let her in. He wanted to see what the prospective Crown Princess and Empress were up to. Let her in. Your Highness, a soft voice reached the Crown Prince's ear. A beautiful woman, dressed in a simple blue dress, with a slender willow waist, and a food box slung over her pure white arms. She walked towards the Crown Prince and said, This is the meal that I have specially prepared for your Highness. Your Highness works day and night, and I also want to contribute my humble efforts to your Highness. As he spoke, he put the food box on the Crown Prince's desk and slowly opened it. Chapter 10. Miss Shangshu x Cold-Blooded Crown Prince 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Someone, blow her out. The crown prince's face remained unchanged, his eyes unusually cold and sharp, as if staring at a dead person, which was chilling. The father.in.law on the side seemed a bit difficult to handle, with his face almost twisted together. The empress specially entrusted her trusted father.in.law, Xinzi, to deliver a message to him. She must have the two of them cook mature rice. He also gained a lot of benefits from it, don't make me say it again. The crown prince didn't lift his head and continued to look down at the book, but he couldn't give her a single penny of his spare time. She was startled by the sudden pressure. But what did my concubine do wrong? The woman from the Li family did not give up. She tentatively inquired and approached the crown prince step by step. Just as she was about to put down her lunchbox, she was knocked down by the crown prince's hand. The hot food filled the entire study with a tempting atmosphere in an instant. Applause. As soon as the crown prince finished speaking, one palm print after another fell on her face. The father.in.law was immediately shocked and quickly knelt down to beg His Highness, saying, "Your Highness. Your Highness. This is the quasi-crown princess appointed by the empress. Your Highness cannot use it." The crown prince didn't listen for a word and directly picked her up and threw her out of the study, shouting sternly, "Don't let me see you again. Expectant crown princess. You don't have the qualifications." With a loud bang as the study was closed, the sky began to rain heavily again. The father.in.law knew that his master was unhappy, so he wanted to take the initiative to receive punishment. These days, I have seen that his family leader's attitude towards the daughter of the Minister of Revenue is simply unbearable. I thought His Highness the Crown Prince would come up with an idea. But who would have thought that His Highness the Crown Prince was still the ruthless and suspicious Crown Prince? How could this be the case with the quasi-Crown Princess appointed by the Empress? Is it difficult? My father.in.law dare not continue to speculate, but if the Empress were to make such a request again in the future, even if he had 10 more heads, he would definitely not dare to agree at all. The Queen is listening to a palace maid whispering in her ear. Soft emotions fleeted from the face, replaced by towering anger. She slammed the table fiercely, causing it to tremble. Unexpectedly failed. This Prince Jing is so unreliable. The losing palace will be prepared for the future. This little girl is really lucky. Huang Er is so devoted to that woman. She must be a troublemaker for the country and the people. This person cannot stay too long. The Queen eased her anger and soon came up with another clever plan. What if she has the protection of Her Royal Highness the Crown Prince? If this palace wants her to die, she will not be allowed to leave the palace alive. Later, Xinzi returned with a pale face to report to the Empress. Empress Dowager, forgive me for my incompetence. That Li family girl was thrown out of the study by His Highness with a palm of her mouth. The Queen immediately bounced up upon hearing this, emitting a raging anger all over her body. What? This palace is going to support her now. I see who dares to touch her. The Empress rushed to the Crown Prince's mansion in a hurry, followed by palace attendants holding umbrellas along the way. I saw a young girl kneeling on the ground in front of the Crown Prince's study, wearing a blue silk dress soaked in rain. Her alluring figure was fully displayed, even the current Empress couldn't bear to secretly appreciate it. The Queen is here. A loud voice echoed throughout the entire Prince's mansion. My palace is here to support you, child. Don't be afraid. My palace only recognizes you as the future Crown Princess. No one can bully you. If anyone moves, you will not be able to get along with my palace. At this moment, the prince's study door was opened and he slowly walked towards the door to salute. Huang'er, this palace wants you to treat her well, why are you so cruel? The Crown Prince sneered, is it really foolish for Queen Mother to be a courtier? If Queen Mother doesn't put aside such schemes, the courtier will definitely have to speak well to the Father Emperor. The Empress was taken aback, how could he know? If it's okay, please go back, Empress Mother. The cold weather can easily penetrate the body, and my courtiers still have official duties to attend to. We apologize for not being far away. After speaking, the door to the study was closed again. Do you really think he can't see that the food was drugged? How could he consume it without personally confirming that it is non-toxic? Moreover, every dark spot in the entire palace was monitored by his dark guards. He can understand every move as easily as his fingertips. He has seen so many dirty methods, how could he not have any sense of defense? The queen bit her lower lip tightly, but her heart was like a piece of glass, falling to the ground and becoming shattered in an instant. Her imperial son became increasingly indifferent and distant towards both her and her servants. The most ruthless imperial family. Although she knows why, her greatest wish is for her child to live a happy life. She helped him ascend to the position of crown prince, overcoming all obstacles and pushing him to the safest yet most dangerous position. What did she do wrong to give him endless glory and wealth? System detection. Due to the host being too weak, the health status of the child in the abdomen is damaged. If the child is not successfully born, it is considered a task failure. Ling Yuan was suddenly surprised. Was it because she used the painless pill in the gift package? Although she didn't feel any pain, her health condition plummeted, which was not what she hoped for. She is already afraid of pain. She opened the system mall and looked at the points she owed. It was not enough for 4 or 5 children to pay off. But no matter what, she must also give birth to this child smoothly. I don't know if it's because she has more motherly affection for this child, or if it's because she's looking forward to it, or just to complete the task, she can't bear the child to be hurt at all. So she continued to borrow points, took anti-abortion, and some health-enhancing drugs. This has finally lifted the crisis, and she has also settled down quite a bit these days. However, the fact that the Li family's daughter was not favored by the crown prince spread widely in the palace. The women of the Li family have been quiet in the side hall these days in order to no longer lose face with their parents. But he was a bit annoyed with Ling Yuan, whom he had never met before. Ling Yuan. Ling Yuan. Ling Yuan. I will definitely get rid of you. The love of the crown prince's brother can only belong to me alone. No one can take it away. That's my thing. Her black and bright eyes were filled with anger, and the terrifying aura emanating from her body made her spine shiver. Although the emperor knew everything that happened in the palace, he never asked anything. But he has been secretly exploring why the crown prince treats that woman like this. This is much more interesting than listening to those ministers deceiving him in court. But this woman is obviously not a fuel-efficient lamp. It's time for the empress to give him a good beating. Show off, Chaofeng Palace. With a majestic sound like a bell, the emperor sat on a sedan chair and walked towards the direction of the empress's dormitory. The crown prince's rare tranquility these days, but the dark guard suddenly came to report that Ling Yuan had disappeared out of thin air.